Hi, this is Jim Feist in Las Vegas. I've got a free pick coming up on the Florida State game on Saturday. First, I've got my college rivalry game of the year going Saturday at VegasSportsMasters.com for $99. However, you can get it for $10 by using the code words Jim, or let's say Feist Wins. That's Jim Feist Wins. When you call 888-777-4155, that's 888-777-4155, code words Feist Wins. Now for the free pick, Florida State. Both these games, great rivalry. Florida's 17-4 under. Florida State's 19-7 under. When they meet, it's 16-5 under the total. That's my play. Florida State to go under the total. Now stay tuned as Dave Cokin and I break down the Big Ten showdown on Proline.
And hi, everybody. Welcome to Proline, direct from Las Vegas. I'm Dave Cokin, joined by Jim Feist. We're going to take a look ahead to Week 13 of the college football campaign, really the last of the full schedule Saturdays in college football, plus Week 12 of the NFL, holiday week, Thanksgiving week, 3 games on Thursday, a bunch on the weekend. First, Jim, if people subscribe to this channel, or to our channel, it's free, and they get lots of bonus stuff for free as well.
They sure do, Dave. Just go to ProLineTV.com. Click on the subscribe button. You'll get notifications on new videos. Plus, you'll be sent a code. Get 7 days of my service absolutely free. That's ProLineTV.com.
All right, so we're going to take a look at our Proline poll question of the week. And we started doing this recently. We've seen some great stories in the NFL this year. From the Cowboys' incredible run against the spread and straight up behind rookie Dak Prescott. The Raiders' resurgence in the AFC, they're now 8-2. Derek Carr is a potential MVP. The continued dominance of the Patriots despite missing Tom Brady with the first 4 games and some injury issues as well. But we went the other way with the poll question this week. It's not about the great teams performing well and the good stories. Instead, we asked which team's ability to completely suck this season has surprised you the most. And we came up with 4 nominees: the Carolina Panthers, the Green Bay Packers, the Arizona Cardinals, or the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the results are in. And we have the Green Bay Packers as a pretty much a runaway winner.
56% of the audience voted Green Bay Packers' abysmal performance this season has surprised them the most. My take on that, most of these teams are NFC teams. Jacksonville, you just throw out.
No, I don't know why they were in there.
They shouldn't be in there. They suck. The coaching sucks.
I would add the Bengals in the poll rather than the Jaguars. But we don't.
They seem to have focused on the NFC here with this, and so there was no Bengals put into the mix. But these 3 teams, the Packers, the Cardinals, and who's the other team? Packers, Cardinals, Panthers.
Right.
They all played the final 2 weeks of the playoffs last year before they got to the Super Bowl. Green Bay played the Cardinals in a wild game that went back and forth, and I believe went to overtime. And Cardinals came out of that, then had to travel to the Panthers and got smoked.
Yep.
The Panthers last year played the weakest schedule and were 15-1 in the regular season. I'm not surprised that they fell off because they're not going to play that weak schedule all the time. So the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, all 3 of these teams, by the way, have kept their quarterbacks. They're all still there. So I kind of agree with the with Green Bay Packers. I think the audience, the voters, were right on this one. The Packers, it's close.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
close,
they're all disappointing.
They're all very disappointing, and but I think the audience is right.
No, I would agree. If I had to pick one out of that group, I think I'd put the Packers.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to fall this dramatically. And you can argue the other teams have as well, but Green Bay has looked really bad.
Talk a little
in the
bit about
process.
that. Is there? You think there's some tension there between the coach and
I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers? That's the rumor.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not there. And we hear speculation about that stuff all the time. And if you're not there, it's tough to say that there is. I know there has been in the past. There often is between quarterbacks and coaches, especially when they're both high-profile types. But I think it's way more than the quarterback. I mean, they're putting enough points on the board recently. Rodgers has, in fact, warmed up.
Rodgers is fantastic.
He's tremendous, but their defense is atrocious.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, you saw that the Redskins are rolling up and down the field on them, even into the wind. on that Sunday night game. So we want to thank everybody for participating in this week's poll question and remind you that we'll post a new Proline poll question every Monday morning on our respective social media networks, and the results will get announced right here on the show.
And if you'd like to send us a suggestion for a poll question on Proline, just send it to I lost that. Where did I lose that? Poll question of the week or any okay. Sorry. And if you'd like to send a suggestion for Proline poll question of the week, or
It's on prompted.
if you have any questions about selections or packages. Yeah, I didn't do a good read on that. That's all. My fault.
Stand by. When you're ever.
Okay. And if you'd like to send us a suggestion for a Proline poll question of the week, or if you have any questions about any of our selections or service packages, send me a direct message on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and I'll get right back to you.
All right, so we got a tremendously important football game.
Ooh, yes.
It's rivalry weekend, so there's a lot of big games out there. But one that has a clear bearing on the playoffs is the matchup between Michigan and Ohio State. For anybody who's not up to speed on this, Ohio State needs a lot of things to happen to get to the championship game in the Big Ten. And what they need to do, obviously, is beat Michigan. And they have to hope Penn State loses one of its last two games, loses its last game to Michigan State. Possible, not likely. Michigan, obviously, they need to win this game. If Michigan wins this game, they're going to be in the Big Ten title game. So there's a ton on the line here. Quick editorial on Ohio State, and I know this is going to infuriate some Buckeye fans, and I think I might have said this last week, but I'm going to say it again. If you're asking me whether I think Ohio State is one of the four best teams in the country, the answer is yes. If you're asking me whether I think that they should have any position in the playoffs whatsoever, even in the conversation, if they don't get to the Big Ten title game, the answer is no. That's the hazard of a 4-team playoff. It should be only teams that make it at least to the conference championship game, and to me, it should be 4 conference champions. You're supposed to win your way into the playoffs.
So you feel that Penn State, even though they're ranked much lower.
Penn State is clearly not as good as Michigan and Ohio State.
But because they win
they beat, look, and I understand, well, Ohio State's obviously better than Penn State. Yeah, but Penn State beat Ohio State. That's the problem I have with this playoff format, and I always will. You can't vote this stuff in. It has to be decided on the football field. And if Penn State if Ohio State beats Michigan, and Penn State ends up winning the Big Ten championship, they have to be the team that's in. I'm sorry. I don't care if your opinion is, and my opinion would be the same thing. I don't care if your opinion is that, well, they're not as good as Ohio State. They beat them on the football field. That has to count more than anything else.
Well, if you're looking at college basketball, if a team beats you in the tournament,
you're out.
You're out.
Yeah.
So in this case, what you're saying,
and you get in the tournament if you win your conference.
Right. Well,
you're in.
That way, and they also vote in other ones as well.
Fine, but that's the problem with having a 4-team college football playoff. It's not enough. They have to go to 8.
Is it possible that, hypothetically, Ohio State wins this week, Penn State wins, and both of them go?
No. 0% chance.
Who would be the 4 teams?
Alabama.
If those two things happen.
Alabama. If they win out Clemson, they've only got the 1 loss. I think Ohio State's going to get in anyway if they win this game. And it's completely.
So basically, what you're saying, Penn State gets screwed.
It's completely unfair. Not only from the reasons I just said, but Ohio State, if they win this game, they're probably going to get in the playoffs. And they won't even have to go on the football field in a championship game and have that risk. It's a complete screw job for teams that have to go through that championship process or not and face possibly a second loss. Washington's an example. Washington's got 1 loss right now. If they win out, personally, I think Washington belongs in. I know they had the loss to USC, but if they win the championship, the Pac-12 championship, if they beat Washington State and win the Pac-12 championship, then I think Washington belongs in. But Washington will still have to get by another hurdle that Ohio State won't have to face. That's totally unfair.
You're totally right. You are right, because if they can sit home, having lost to Penn State, not have to play the game in and get in, the total screw job.
Yeah.
But that's politics, and we know what happens with politics.
Yes, it is. All right, so anyway, let's look at the game, and it's the best rivalry game in this series in many years. Because let's face it, Ohio State's owned the team. I think they've won 13 in the last 15. But you had the Rich Rod era at Michigan, and then you had the Brady Hoke era at Michigan, and the program just had declined substantially. It had even gone downhill at the end of the Lloyd Carr administration. So Ohio State really has never gone into a
Been a more
tailspin.
stable program.
Well, plus once Urban Meyer
gets
arrived,
there.
I mean,
but now you have Harbaugh.
yeah, but between Tressel and Urban Meyer, that's a lot of wins.
Yeah.
Okay. Now Harbaugh is there, as you mentioned, and Michigan's really good, but they do have an issue at quarterback this weekend, and you wonder how much of an impact that's going to have in this game.
Well, it should have an impact. I mean, if the kid is not healthy and you're going to corn, I think it's a drop off.
So do I.
How about schedule this year? Who played the tougher schedule? I'd say Ohio State.
I think Ohio State by a little bit. I mean, let's face it, they had to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And again, what I just said, I want to make it clear. If I were voting on one of the 4 best teams in the country, I would absolutely have Ohio State in there. I think they're one of the 4 best teams. I'm just making an argument that the system's screwed up.
Basically, the issue really comes down to this. If you win your conference championship, you're saying that should matter.
I think the 5 major. Look. I think they have to go to 8 teams. I said this when they first started. I said, well, it's better than what they had, but 4 isn't
far better.
4 isn't enough.
Than what we had.
Yeah, because you get an actual championship now that gets decided on the field. But you need to go to 8. So the 5 major conferences all get an automatic bid, and then you get 3 at-larges, and then not a problem at all to get Ohio State into the playoffs.
This is a tough game to handicap. I mean, if the quarterbacks are healthy on both sides, everything's equal. It's really kind of a toss-up, maybe a little 2 or 3 point edge to Ohio State. But
well, I'll tell you one thing.
With the quarterback issue with Spates, that's an issue.
I can guarantee you this. This is an absolute 100% guarantee, and it is if all the teams that are in contention for those 4 spots, they're all rooting for Michigan. It's like, okay, Michigan wins this, then they win the Big 12 title, they're in. And that takes care of Big 10, excuse me. That takes care of the Big 10. Then you don't have to, because Ohio State's out if they lose, and obviously Michigan would finish ahead of Penn State if they win this game. So Michigan can make a lot of people happy. And in fact, I think of the selection committee itself, if they win this football game, make their job a lot easier.
Okay, so you mentioned Clemson.
But I don't think they're going to win.
Well, anything can happen. And with Harbaugh, he's a great coach. He's done it in the pros. He's done it in the colleges. Stanford, amazing San Francisco 49ers. He's doing it here. He turns programs around. He comes up with a big game. But if we get down to other teams, besides Clemson, besides the Ohio State, the Michigan, the Penn State, who do you think is hanging out there that could sneak in?
I don't think anybody can sneak in. I think we've got, it's a way just maintaining at this point for everybody.
And then a committee, it's all politics. It all comes down to politics.
Well, I think they do their best, but it's just you can't vote. This isn't an election, okay? Where whoever gets the most electoral college votes wins.
Oh, don't start that.
Well, no, that's the rules. That's the rules, and that's the way it goes. If you don't like the rules, change the rules. This is supposed to be decided on the football field, and they still aren't getting it right. So anyway, as far as the game is concerned, I'm not going to play the game at all. I've got some big stuff this weekend, but this game's too tough for me. If I had to play it, I'd take the under. I think with the Michigan issues, they need to shorten the game as much as possible and not get into a shooting match with Ohio State. They're not going to win a high-scoring game, I don't think so.
Well,
I think it's going to be an under.
If you look at last week, I think both teams were kind of looking ahead to this one. Ohio State's the healthier team. I favor Ohio State in the game. I think they're going to walk away with the win. I think it's going to be tight, but it could be 7 to 10 points.
If you want to ask us any Vegas sports wagering questions, go to ProlineTV.com. Drop us a question. It doesn't cost anything. And speaking of not costing anything, be sure to hit the subscribe button because that will get you 7 days of action free.
Plus, go to JimFeist.com for free stats, articles, videos, my free fast facts, and plays from the nation's top handicappers.
All right, when we come back, we'll start looking at the NFL Week 12. We'll get into a big game featuring a couple of teams with playoff hopes. One of them's in first place in their division. The other one needs to get it rolling. Stay tuned.